welcome to the American Sports Connection. I'm your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my good buddy Jason. How's it going, dude?
Hey, what's up, man? Just ready to talk about some football. Coming off of that high from last night's game, like real excited.
Yeah, didn't you say it had like a huge cable rating?
16.7 million viewers last night, which is largest game in the last 2 years. I actually just saw that compared to last week's week 12, or was it week 11, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. They're up 21% compared to last year. The NFL ratings are.
So that's huge news for them.
Yeah, it really is. Like, a lot of people tried to say that the league was dying last year, but it's not this year. And I mean, you have a big thing is I think you have a lot of teams that got better that are in bigger markets. That people want to see their team again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And some good primetime games, man. Like, we've had some stinkers, but we've also had some great games.
I was going to say that. Like, it seems like the league made a concerted effort to have better Thursday night games this year.
Yeah, that helps. When you can put something in primetime like that, you're automatically going to have a larger viewer base every week, because the primetime games are where your ratings come from, obviously.
Totally. All right, before we get rolling with this week's games and all that jazz, don't forget to follow our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at ASC Pods. You can find our entire catalog on B Plus Player Radio. Find them on Twitter at B Plus Radio. And don't forget to check out our sponsors over at Too Sweet Magazine. Find them on Twitter at TOO Sweet Mag. All right, let's get right into it. Last Thursday night, we had Seattle coming from behind and beating Green Bay 27-24.
Yeah, I actually didn't see too much of this game, but I did catch Seattle, like you said, coming from behind with a good fourth quarter. Oh, actually, a great defensive second half. Seattle's defense dominated pretty much in the second half, and they put the game away.
The thing that amazed me with this game, and as I've seen Seattle play more and more throughout the season, is how quickly they've been able to bring back their power running game.
Yeah, they've looked good lately, especially like in this game. They have almost like a three-headed monster right now with Carson, Penny, and Davis.
Yeah.
I like Chris Carson, healthy and running really well, like looked good Sunday and Thursday. I'm sorry. Rashad Penny and David, like they have a core of backs now that where all three of them do different things, and it's looking really good for them. Their defense at times, like they have a bear down defense. Like when it really needed to be good on Thursday night, it was good.
Yeah.
Like they came out early. Rodgers kind of carved them up, and they stopped primetime Rodgers, which is, I'm a big fan of watching Aaron Rodgers late in primetime games because he usually wins them. And this game did not go that way. The second half just wasn't the Packers, they didn't continue what they did in the first half. They scored 3 touchdowns in the first half. They scored 3 points in the second half, and that's it. So that just shows you I guess I would really call it like the desperation out of Seattle's defense and offense, mainly defense, came to life, and they're 5-5 now, and the Packers are kind of out of that division, I guess, now at this point, because the Bears aren't letting up.
Yeah, they're in real trouble.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely a team right now where their backs are way, like firmly up against the wall.
Here's an interesting stat. I was looking stuff up Sunday, I think it was, and I didn't know this. Seattle is the number 1 rushing yards per game offense in football right now.
I would not have guessed that, to be honest with you. That would not have been something that I would have guessed.
They're averaging over 150 rushing yards a game.
That's awesome. That's good for them as as a franchise that are coming off of Marshawn Lynch and not having him anymore, and it's actually it's like they have like a 16-yard lead on the Rams.
Yeah,
they're actually like they're like head and shoulders above the rest of the franchises right now, the rest of the teams right now.
Yeah.
That's great for them, man. It's something that obviously their offensive line is in order, and they're putting together multiple threats in their running game, which is a big thing, because if one of them goes down, you obviously have guys that can step up and take over, you know?
Totally, I agree. These guys always seem to have fun games.
Who's that? The Packers and the Seahawks. Yeah. Dude, it's like I don't really know how to put it, but like you get when you get a matchup,
yeah,
you're gonna be like, oh man, this like it's like Pittsburgh and Baltimore, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and like you get like the Saints and Atlanta tend to have really good games.
Yeah,
and,
like
the
circle
Eagles
it on the calendar,
and Cowboys.
like I'm not missing this.
Yeah, that's one of those primetime games where it's a non-rivalry game that since they seem to play each other often, becomes like one of those rivalries in a sense.
Totally.
I'm trying to think of another one that I would put out there that's like kind of become a big rivalry where the two teams play each other a lot. Like Eagles and Carolina.
Yeah.
Or another one. Like we get that game a lot now. Eagles and Falcons seems to be like we play them every year. I'm almost to the point where I'm like, damn, can we get like a lesser team on our schedule? Can we play like the Browns every year instead of no offense to the Browns because they're coming around, but can we play like, one of those layups instead of like a hard fought in the trenches game?
Totally. All right, let's
Steelers Patriots is I'm thinking that's Dean in the chat. Steelers Patriots, that's another good game.
Yeah.
That's a rivalry.
That is a good one. All right, moving right along, we have the Cowboys coming from behind and beating Atlanta 22-19.
Yeah, man. This game kind of sucks, so I had to get a drink there.
No, you're fine.
Really, really, really pulling for Atlanta in that game, obviously. Hey, you got to give it to the Cowboys, though, man. That kid that they have that took over for Sean Lee, Vander Esch.
He's really turned into a monster.
Man, he's a good defensive player, and I think it's going to be the nail in the Cowboys' coffin for Sean Lee, if you know what I mean by that. Like I think he's gonna force him out.
Yeah, well, and they can get out of his deal at the end of the season anyway. Like there's an opt out.
Yeah, and that would be, to me, that's what they should do, because I think they have a leader there now with this kid. This game really, like, it didn't really have a lot that stood out to me. Cole Beasley drops the ball at the goal line. Could have been huge if the Cowboys don't end up winning this game. Elliott really didn't have a huge game. Like it was kind of like, Elliott had a big total yardage game, and he had a good game on the ground. So I guess he did actually. I take that back. I was wrong there. Yeah, he went for like 220 total yards. 221 total yards with a touchdown. Yeah, he had a big game. But it just stood out. Like Dallas's defense to me is, I don't want to get ahead, but they're starting to look like one of the better defenses in the league right now. Yeah,
they're a top 5 defense, I think.
Yeah, and I mean they have like Leighton Vander Esch, man. What did he have? He had a ton of plays. Like he had like some nice big tackles. He had an interception. He had a lot of passes defended too. Like he led the game or the team, I think, in like pass defenses or something.
Him and Jalen Smith are going to be a deadly combination.
Oh, absolutely. They have like a future like side by side Pro Bowlers on that team right now, I think, with Vander Esch and Smith. That kind of scares me as an Eagles fan going forward, because they have talent back there, man.
No, I agree with you. The other thing I noticed from this game is Julio Jones. You knew it was coming. Where when he finally got that first touchdown, it was like the floodgates were going to open, and now he has a touchdown in 3 straight games.
Yeah, I mean it's Julio. You're not going to stop him for too long. He's just too good, man. Another thing I want to point out too is that Mayer, the kicker for the Cowboys, he missed an extra point, but he had 3 good field goals in that game. Probably the deciding factor offensively for them might have been the kicker. Oh my God,
the one he made, the game winner, he just hooked it in.
Yep, and that was crazy, man. Good for him. You know, he's a kid and everything, and he put his name out there and he's got a job.
Totally. I mean, it was a fun game to watch, back and forth at the very end.
Yeah. It didn't end the way I wanted it to, but I don't. I love good football. Like when push comes to shove, I like good football games, and whoever wins the game, if it ends up being a good game, you kind of feel like a winner. That's just the way I am with football, dude. I love football. I love watching good games. So
absolutely.
It was a good game. I like watching good players play good football.
Totally. All right, next we have the Ravens beating the Bengals 24-21.
This was another this is a big game for the Ravens because they didn't have Flacco and they still beat that rivalry. Like this is one of those nasty games where you're like, man, what's going to happen here? And to come out and to beat them without Flacco, it's pretty big going forward. Lamar Jackson, like he didn't really impress me at all. He did not really look that great as a quarterback, but he ran the ball 27 times as a quarterback, which is crazy.
That's almost like running the option in college.
They basically ran an option offense, man. With him, Gus Edwards had a big game, and Alex Collins really wasn't a factor, but it was kind of cool seeing that like wrinkle, like their offense kind of felt like a college offense, and once in a while when you get them in an NFL game, it's kind of cool to see, Yeah,
because it's pretty rare.
The other thing is Cincinnati's run game, like Joe Mixon, their run game was not there. They did not run the ball at all. Mixon had 12 carries for 14 yards. So Bernard had 2 carries for 5 yards. So they were an air team, and that's it. Maybe if they would have ran the ball better, they probably would have beat up on the Ravens a little bit because they couldn't keep the ball,
Totally. And the Ravens are pretty stout against the run.
Yeah, man, the Ravens are just, and Cincinnati's not. So that just tells you all you kind of need to know.
And both teams are at 5-5, so they're fighting for their lives now.
Yeah, they're in a rough. To me, they're in a very rough conference. To where if they keep going mediocre, they're
not going to make it.
Probably, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. All right, next we have one of the upsets of the week. The Lions coming from behind and beating Carolina 2019.
Yeah, I didn't see this one coming, man. I thought because Carolina looked like they were kind of rolling a little bit. Like you were like, man, they were 6-3. You're like, yeah, they're probably gonna win this one. They're gonna go to 7-3, and they're gonna start, pulling away in that wild card because they're not winning that division.
Even though they play the Saints twice toward the end of the season.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they can beat the Saints, to be honest with you. They might get them one of the games. They might come out and the Saints might kind of have a hiccup or something. But I just don't think the Panthers are one of those teams where you watch them and they look so good, and then a quarter later or a game later, they just don't look like they're a playoff caliber team. And like Newton does it. Like Newton had a pretty good game, on Sunday, and By the way, the player that stood out to me a lot in this game was that DJ Moore kid. That kid had a big game. He looked really good.
Yep.
And another young receiver too that looked pretty good was the Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, he's a monster, man.
Yeah, I like him, man. He looked really good. Big issue in this game is Kerryon Johnson got hurt, and he's probably, I don't know. The Lions are probably done, but
he's their best running back.
Yeah, in a way. I still like LeGarrette Blount. I just don't think they've used him in the right way, and they haven't used him enough. But that's a whole different story. But
well, I meant
really
like from a talent standpoint.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you remember, but remember early in the season, before the season started, I
told me to draft him in fantasy.
Yeah, I told you to pick him up at Fantasy Johnson, and he's looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's been helping me out. But no, I didn't expect that. That was the one I did not expect this past week.
Yeah, not the upset of the week. I wouldn't call it the upset of the week. There's a game later, but it was one that I didn't really expect.
Agreed. All right, next we have the Colts just pummeling the Titans 38-10.
Yeah, man. Listen. If there's one guy in the NFL right now that I couldn't be happier for, it's Andrew Luck.
He is white hot right now.
Yeah, he looks like Andrew Luck, man, and it's good to see. Like, I'm glad because we've talked about it in previous weeks, and we talked about it's tough, man. Like, it's tough, like to not know his future in the offseason. Like, he really didn't know. And if you watch him now, him and T.Y. Hilton have had like this connection that it looks like build around now. Like the Colts might be on the come up.
I was going to say that I think next year they're going to be very dangerous.
And I really like Frank Reich. Like I've told you throughout this season, you see where he's been missed in the Eagles' offensive
hierarchy.
Yeah. And he looked good, man. They ran the Philly special on Sunday and almost completed it for a touchdown. Almost. It was Eric Ebron just threw it a little, maybe a little too far for Luck, or they would have had a touchdown off of it. But
well, there was that crazy stat you told me about Luck and the Colts.
Oh, Luck hasn't been sacked in 5 straight games,
which is almost unheard of.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you keep a good quarterback upright, and you'll benefit.
Right. I don't want to say this was an upset. I just think I was surprised at how they pummeled the Titans.
Yeah, the Titans looked like you have 2 5-5 teams right now. That like after the game, they're both 5-5 now, and the difference between that 5 and 5 is huge. Like when you look at how good the Colts have been looking, it's like night and day compared to how the Titans look.
Absolutely.
Night and day. The Titans just didn't do anything really well on Sunday at all.
No.
And Mariota's hurt now again.
So yeah, man, that's just bad luck, yeah. I guess.
Yeah, they're. I mean, what? You got to give them time too, I guess. Vrabel, just hasn't had much time.
Yeah, it's his first year.
Hey, he beat the Patriots.
he didn't just beat them; they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, which is crazy because the way they beat the crap out of the Patriots is what they got on Sunday from the Colts. Like it was very similar.
All right, next we have the Giants winning a shootout with Tampa, 38-35.
Yeah, this game, I know I didn't pick the Giants to win, but this game kind of went the way you would expect because you have 2 kind of not very good teams, and their offenses can go, and their offenses went on Sunday. The Giants, like, they're kind of starting to show signs of being a little better than I think everybody thinks. Like Eli Eli obviously didn't have to do too much on Sunday, but dude, he was 17 of 18 for 231 and 2 touchdowns. So he was very efficient, about as efficient as you can get.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, though, man, had a huge day. Like, that kid, you see, if they put together an offensive line and they block for him, that kid is going to be a stud.
I agree with that. They have the talent around them.
Yeah, then on the other side, you had Ryan Fitzpatrick. Just, boy, did he look bad. Like, terrible bad.
Speaking of which, he's been benched again.
Yeah, again, Winston's the starter again, so that means Tampa will probably look like shit again this week because he'll get the job, he'll look good, and and they're just like they're two teams that they're kind of like maybe don't win because you're kind of pushing for that high draft pick, and maybe take it easy with all this winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's move her along. We have the Texans adding to their winning streak, beating the Redskins 23-21.
Yeah, man. The first thing we got to talk about in this game is obviously the message I sent you during this game of just like disgust when I saw what happened to Alex Smith.
The exact message I got, ladies and gentlemen, was, "Oh my God, oh my God."
I saw it live, and when I saw that leg, like I said, like I was watching it with Candace, and I was just like, "Oh God!" And she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "That his leg is severely broken," and I didn't see it live, obviously, but I saw the video of Theismann's leg, and when I saw it, and it happened to be like the 30-year or something, like 33-year anniversary to the day of when Lawrence Taylor broke Theismann's leg, and it was nasty. And I think they ended up saying it was the compound fracture, which means there's a technical name, which means that his bone actually did pierce the leg, the skin.
Yeah, but he broke his tibia and fibia.
Yeah, it was not pretty, and they said it's like a 6 to 8 month recovery. So I guess technically he should come back next year, but at his age, you kind of have to start wondering. Yeah, you have to start wondering, like, is he ever going to play football again? It's unfortunate.
Yeah, this is the other crazy thing. You talk about the 33 years to the day that it happened, the Theismann injury.
Yes.
This game had the exact same score of that game.
Oh, no. That sucks.
I was like, that's freaky.
Yeah, this was actually a pretty good game, too, man. The Redskins, Colt McCoy tried to bring him back. He had a couple good passes, touchdown pass. He had a couple really good runs. I guess going forward now, they're in trouble. Obviously, 6-4. They signed Mark Sanchez, which come on, I mean,
I don't know how. To be frank with you, I don't know how they're doing it with the decimated offensive line they have.
Yeah, I think that offensive line, unfortunately, I'm not trying to make a joke, but unfortunately it caught up to them on Sunday with their quarterback just...
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I guess the big thing would be is now the Houston Texans have won... How many games in a row now have they won? 7 in a row. Yeah, 7 in a row, which ties the longest in their team history. Hey, they're starting to look good, man. They're in a division.
Driver's seat.
Yeah, they're in a division with Jacksonville and Indianapolis, and who else is in that division? I'm missing a team down there. The Titans, that's right. They're in a division right now where, unless the wheels just totally fall off and the Colts end up making a run, they should win that division easy. They should be hosting a playoff game come January.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this game was kind of...
It was fun to watch, minus, what happened to Alex Smith.
Yeah, it has huge implications in two divisions, and now you have to start wondering, like with the Redskins, like are they going to fall apart now? And is Dallas going to step up and take over the division, or we'll talk about the other team later. But it's gonna be interesting going forward because you have a wide open division in the NFC East now. Because I think what is starting to look like your best team is a 5-5 team, meaning the Cowboys.
And you don't know what they're going to do from week to week.
You really don't, and that's a very good point.
And I don't mean that as a slight. It's just they don't ever come out, it seems like, completely prepared from week to week.
Yeah, it's true. It's bad coaching. It's a head coach that just kind of like, I mean, let's be honest.
And the way they're playing right now, he's going to save his job.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. We'll see what happens because they have some games coming up that aren't exactly
cakewalks
favorable for them. Yeah, well, one of them is rough, as we saw on Sunday. It can be rough.
All right, let's keep her going. We have the Steelers coming from behind and beating the Jaguars. I'm sure Dean got excited on this one.
Yeah. Listen, I always say this, and I know you agree because me and you both will say it. Good teams find ways to win tough games,
and bad teams find ways to lose games.
Yes, and you got the Jaguars' 2017 defense played 3 quarters on Sunday. And then their 2018 defense showed up for the 4th, and it did not go well. Like, they literally made Pittsburgh look terrible for 3 quarters. Pittsburgh couldn't get anything going. Like, if you look at the stat sheet in this game, you'll see it looked like the stat sheet kind of a losing team. Connor only rushed for 25 yards. Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster ended up with nice stat sheets because of the 4th quarter.
I was going to say that they padded their stats late.
Yeah, they won a game, and Big Ben did too. Big Ben looked terrible early. 3 interceptions in this game.
And I mean bad interceptions.
Yeah, but they're a good football team, and they took advantage of opportunities late, and they're 7-2-1 now. They're starting to look like that team in that division that they should look like, and they're running away with the division now. They're going to run away with the division,
and they're
in my
right
opinion,
there
because
for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, in the AFC, yeah, because of what happened on Monday night now, and the Patriots are like right there too, and the Steelers are starting to look like the Steelers, even though. You could say, oh, well, for 3 quarters they didn't look like the Steelers. Yeah, but they won the football game. And at the end of the day, when you win a football game, you win a football game. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's not pretty, but a win's a win.
Yeah, look, you can't always take the prom queen to a dance. And, sometimes you got to go with what gets you there. And they're doing it.
I agree with that. Excuse me. All right. Next, we have the Raiders beating Arizona 23-21.
Yeah, this one, I think the biggest thing was this was the message I sent you. The biggest thing to come out of this game is when they said
Lee Smith
like grabbed Gruden by the throat during an altercation between Gruden and Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, that's not good. Yeah.
The one interesting thing I read was Gruden was trying to compare Jalen Richard, one of their running backs, to Charlie Gardner.
Oh yeah, Jalen. I don't know, man. Like it kind of in a way. I think you might agree with me on this, but it kind of validates what a lot of people have been saying, where Gruden might not be up for this NFL anymore from where he was gone for so long. And when you start comparing guys to guys in the past and don't just give them their own identity, it kind of shows that in a way. Like I'm not a big fan of comparing a guy to an older guy. I like comparing a guy to a guy that's in the NFL currently,
Totally.
This game kind of sucked to me. I mean,
well, 2 teams that have a combined 3 wins, so you're not going to really set the world on fire,
Well, they have 4. They're both 2-8 now.
Right. No, I meant before the game.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess you would just have to look like Rosen looked okay at times. He doesn't look great, but you have to give him a pass because that team is kind of just not good. Like they need offensive line help. They probably need more weapons for him because if you think about it, Fitzgerald's old. He had 2 touchdown catches, but he's old. You know, no offense to him, but he's been in the league.
Yeah, it's just his time's running out.
Christian Kirk looks okay, but he's not going to like tear it up. So he's kind of stuck, you know, with like not really a big passing game right now.
Yeah,
David Johnson looked really good.
Brown brothers go.
Yeah, David Johnson looked really good. So that's a plus. And the other side of the ball with the Raiders, you know, Carr looked decent. Carr didn't really have a bad game. I don't know what went on with them with that.
They ran the ball a lot.
Yeah, with that altercation. Yeah, they did. They really did. They ran the ball 33 times, and they ran for a decent average. I mean, it won them a game.
Maybe that's something they might look into down the road.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have trouble finding things about this game.
All right, then we'll move it on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and I'll act like I'm excited to talk about that game because I'm not.
All right, next was your upset pick, the Broncos beating the Chargers 23-22.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. One of the main reasons I picked the Broncos to win this game, and I'll tell you why, is the Broncos have now beaten the Chargers 12 out of the last 15 times they've played them, and that's including
that's a crazy
playoffs.
Stat.
Yeah, and that is why I felt like the Broncos would go in there and beat them. Another reason why is because I'll be honest with you, I kind of like these running backs that the Broncos have. I like Phillip Lindsay. I think he's going to be a pretty good, like maybe a star in this league. I like the kid. I like the Broncos are building a little bit, you know, like Lindsay and Freeman and Cortland Sutton, and they obviously have some big names on defense. This team, they need a franchise quarterback. I don't think Case Keenum is that guy. They need a new head coach. And I just saw this week, which would be kind of cool for them, is I saw that Gary Kubiak is interested in returning to the NFL and a coordinator's job.
That'd be interesting.
An offensive coordinator's job. It would be cool maybe if they reunite those guys, bring in another head coach, because I think Vance Joseph, even, you know, with this win, I think Joseph is on his way out. But it would be kind of cool if you got to see maybe Kubiak reuniting with the Broncos and they bring in a head coach that's friendly with him, and they start building an offense, get themselves a franchise quarterback, you know, and start building a team again. Because if they don't, I can't see Elway being there for too long if he doesn't turn that franchise around.
I agree, especially because they're used to being consistently in it.
Yeah. Now the next thing is where do the Chargers go from here? Because they really, like, this could be a tough loss from them. They were at home. They lost to a rival Broncos team that was 3-6 coming in. Really didn't look good. Now, where do they go from here? You know, moving forward, where are they going to end up?
Especially considering, we'll get to it about last night. You know, if they win this game, they're right in the division race.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting going forward to see what happens with the Chargers, because I honestly think they're overrated right now. I think they're a weaker 7-3 team. I don't want that to come off wrong and dumb, but I think they're a 7-3 team that's ripe for the picking on a week-to-week basis, if you get what I mean.
I want to see when they play like Kansas City again.
Yeah, that's a good game. I want to see them play some better teams, you know.
And then, you know, kind of judge them from there.
They kind of feel like the Rams of last season, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
Like they're pretty good, but are they going to like walk into the playoffs and because they're in a bad division and everything, and then are they going to lay a major egg like the Rams did last year? Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, they did. Obviously, we're gonna see in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah.
But let's figure it out.
All right. Next, we have the Saints.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Keeping the
the winning streak going, beating up on the Eagles 48-7.
Yeah, 9-game winning streak. Listen, this game, there's not too much to talk about in this game, and I'm not saying that because I don't want to. I'm just saying this was a beating. This was an embarrassment. If you're an Eagles fan, like, I was embarrassed, man. I, honest to God, I'll admit it. I turned this game off at the half. I turned it off.
I want, not to cut you off, I want your opinion on something, because I mentioned this, excuse me, to Adam at the half, because people are like, well, this is when I thought the game turned. They scored the Josh Adams touchdown.
Yes.
They get the stop. They get the ball back. I think that game turned when Wentz was sacked on the third down right before the half, and he had Ertz open but couldn't get it to him.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Because he couldn't get it to him, they punted it, and then the Saints went right back down the field and scored.
Yeah.
And then it was never close after that. I think that was the big swing in the game.
Yeah, I could go. I'll go with that because it buried the Eagles, absolutely. But to be honest with you, I think in the second half it was going to end up the way it ended up anyway.
Right,
but
I just meant, I thought that was like the tide turner.
No, yeah, I agree with it, man. I do. I can agree with that. Because I think
they said they've punted like, 12 or 13 times all season?
The Saints?
Yeah, some ridiculous number.
I think it was 9 times coming into Sunday.
Okay. I wasn't exactly sure, but it was some number that was off the charts.
Yeah, the Saints, they only punted twice on Sunday. But the Saints are the kind of team where if you have a chance to get them off the field and keep them off the field, you have to. It's not a fact of, it'll help you, it'll benefit you. No, you have to keep that Saints offense off the field. You have to. If you can get them off on short, if you can stop them from having long drives, if you can minimize their time of possession, meaning keeping the ball out of their hands, not minimize it by letting them score on you quick, because it works two ways.
Yeah. Lance said in the chat, he said at least the Eagles' rookie running back looks like he might be a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, Josh Adams is who he's talking about.
Yes.
He does. The thing is I would like to see him get 15, 20 carries instead of 7 or 8 because they have to throw so much because they're behind now, and they it's keeping him off the field. It's keeping the ball out of his hands, and
Agreed.
that kind of sucks because I watched him for 3 years at Notre Dame. The kid is talented. He has it. He's
especially I remember the thing you told me when I told you we signed him. You were like, if the offensive line opens holes for him, he will do well. He'll find them.
Yeah, he's not really the kind of back who's gonna slip a tackle in the backfield, spin off of a guy, and make his own yardage. He's not that kind of back, but he's the kind of back. Ajayi's a free agent next year, Lance. He just asked if Ajayi was with the Eagles next year. He's not the kind of back he's not Barry Sanders, he's not this kind of back that's going to be he might break a tackle in the backfield, but your best bet is to open up a hole and let him get to the next level because he can hit home runs. He literally ran, I think he had 7 70-plus yard runs at Notre Dame last year. So that shows you that he can extend the run after he gets to that second level, but getting there is on the offensive line. You have to get him there. He's a finisher, too. He's very much like a LeGarrette Blount type of back where he can finish. He's going to
punish people.
Yeah, he can do that really well. They need to bring someone else in the offseason to complement him. We'll see what happens. How
a pass catcher, speedy type guy.
Yeah, well, Adams can catch the ball, too. He's not terrible at that. But, yeah, definitely what you just said. And Corey Clement technically should be that guy, but I don't know what the hell happened to him this year.
I wonder if he's been having nagging injuries that he hasn't been been heard about, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I think you're on to something right there. Big time, you're on to something. Yeah, they need this off week here, like not off week, but this week they need to go out Sunday. They need to game plan better. They need to execute better. They need to stay in game better because they're playing a team that they should beat, that they beat earlier this year by a significant amount.
Them.
Yeah, they really need this week to come out because if they go 5-6. If Dallas loses, if the Redskins lose, you don't know what's going to happen because we still have 4 more games within the division, right?
Yeah, they have 2 very potentially winnable games the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have games where, if you look 2 weeks from today, the Eagles could be 6-6, right in the division.
You don't know what the Redskins are going to be now.
Yeah, remember this, too. At the end of the year, the team with the best division record wins the division. So if all 3 of these teams are 8-8, if the Eagles are 5-1 in the division, the Eagles win the division.
Exactly.
So you don't know. Right now, it doesn't bode well for them because of the way they've looked. The fact that they have no secondary other than Malcolm Jenkins, it really looks bad. But they got to step up. Linebackers got to step up. The pass rush has to step up. You have a chance. The door is not closed. There's still a pretty big crack in the door for them to kick it open. And, I'm the kind of, I like to be a glass half full kind of guy. I like going forward thinking, maybe this team turns it around. Or is it going to happen? It's very doubtful. They have pride, though, man.
But you never know.
It all has to start too, with them protecting Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has to have protection. He has to have time to hit these really good receivers, and Alshon Jeffrey, Golden Tate, Zach Ertz. Ertz obviously is one of the better tight ends in the NFL. They have to start driving defensive lines back to where you can give the ball to Josh Adams, 15, 20 times. Yeah, you have to start this. It has to start right there. It has to start inside. Yeah, he's saying Kelsey's elbow.
That did look nasty.
Yeah, that's another thing going forward. The Eagles actually they signed a center today.
Well, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, we'll see. Kelsey's a big loss, obviously. Can Wisniewski move in there? Sure. But the thing is, though, is the other 4 guys also have to step up. Jason Peters has to be better. Lane Johnson's playing hurt. They're all playing hurt, too. That's another issue. Peters is playing with a torn bicep.
Yeah,
Lane Johnson's playing with a torn up knee.
He's just got one of those braces on, and he's gutting it out.
Yeah, they just have to minimize the times they're being beat by the defensive linemen. And
Agreed.
We'll go... we talked a lot about the Eagles. Here, let's just talk about this, too, the Saints. The Saints are fucking good. I'm sorry about the word. The Saints are good.
Yeah, you're fine.
The Saints are good, man. They are a good football team. Right now, I would say, if you were to ask me which team I think is going to win the Super Bowl right now, it's the Saints.
And another thing, not to cut you off, that amazes me, they're doing it with... Michael Thomas is a star, don't get me wrong, but everyone else, you're like, who is that? I've never heard of that guy, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's depth, man. You don't have to have 4 great receivers. You need 1 great receiver and 3 good receivers.
Yeah, no, I just mean because they have the tight end Josh Hill. I'm I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? They do it with
no. I get you 100%.
Names.
And another thing, dude, is what they're doing it with too. Is they're doing it with 2 really good running backs too. Yeah. 2 really good. Kamara and Ingram are probably the 2 best running backs in the NFL together.
Yeah, they really complement each other well.
Yeah, they might be the best 2 in the NFL. They're just a good team, man. They're strong up and down. They're getting good play pretty much from everyone on that football team. They have arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, they have a guy who maybe after this week he might be the MVP leader now. I'm not real sure. We talked about it last night. We talked about it before.
He might be now.
Yeah, Breeze has never won an MVP, and it's because someone always has a monster year and takes it from him.
Because remember, me and you talked about this, where you're like, why didn't he win the MVP in this year, and this year? And every year it was like the one year Adrian Peterson almost broke Eric Dickerson's record. Then the next year was the year Peyton broke the TD record. And
yep. Maybe this year is the year that Breeze finally wraps it up and wins it. We'll see going forward with Mahomes and even Jared Goff. I mean, we talked about it last night. Last year, if you were to tell me, like, Carson Wentz looked like the better out of those two. This year, Jared Goff looks like a stud, star quarterback.
We'll get to it, but there's one specific play in that game that I agree with you with.
Yeah, man. It's sorry about that sound. I'm stepping out. My voice is going to sound a little different for a second. Unfortunately, when we do these shows live, I kind of have to run and do things once in a while.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right.
We'll keep it going. Sunday night, we have the Bears hanging on and beating Minnesota 25-20.
Yeah, I guess the big thing coming out of this game has to be the health of Mitchell Trubisky, right?
Yeah, the Bears might have won the battle, but they might have lost the war.
Yeah, which is rough, man, because they're a team that they're one of those teams. They're the team I like. I like, you know how I'll always pick like two teams, one out of each conference that I really like, that I like to follow. The Bears are the team that I like out of the NFC. Not saying they're going to win the NFC, not at all. I don't think they're better than the Rams or the Saints by any stretch of the imagination. But what I do think is I think they're a team that you need to keep an eye on. They're a team I like to watch too, because
their defense is nasty.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Nobody can doubt that Khalil Mack is a monster. He's a monster of the Midway. And then they got that other
guy, Floyd.
Yes.
And there's a
Trevathan.
And there's a defensive tackle they have that's been playing out of his mind.
I can't remember his name. They also have Roquan Smith.
Yeah, they're really loaded on defense.
Yeah, they're definitely a team that has a lot of talent going forward. And I'll say it again, the only thing I think they really need to add to that offense going forward is they need a big receiver. They need a big receiver. They need a guy.
Ironically, like Alshon Jeffrey.
Like Alshon Jeffrey, yes. But they'll get him. They're an attractive place now to play. So.
And the one thing about this game I thought was Cousins looked really bad, like with interceptions.
Cousins, he's not like I don't think he's not as good as everybody thinks he is. It's weird. Like going out of this year, it was kind of like they were like, yeah, we're going to replace Case Keenum with Kirk Cousins, and then I'm kind of like, yeah, Cousins had some big games with Washington, and he looked good, really good at times. But is he really worth like all they've given him and everything?
I personally don't think so.
You know, it's another thing too, and I don't want to shortchange, like I don't want to make Cousins sound terrible, but they just didn't run the ball. They look terrible.
17 rushing yards.
17 rushing yards, yeah, from their backs, right?
Yeah.
Because I know Cousins had one rush.
Yeah, but that's unacceptable.
Yeah, you can't put the ball in the air every play. You cannot. You can't be second and third and long every play too, and that's what they were, and that's why they lost.
Robin in our chat wants to know: is it time to hit the panic button on Cousins?
Man,
this is I would say no, because it's like, you know, it's his first year, it's a new offense, and all that. My thing though is, unfortunately, right or wrong, he's never going to hear the end of it because of all the money he got.
Yeah, all that guaranteed money. Like he's
he's screwed either way.
Yeah, Rob also said they might be okay with Chase Daniel. I don't want to be rude here, but Chase Daniel, I would argue that Chase Daniel is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. No offense to Daniel, but he can't throw. The guy can't throw a football to save his life.
Yeah, us as Eagles fans know that very well.
No, I don't think the Vikings should pursue Le'Veon Bell, Rob. I think that Dalvin Cook's going to be a good running back, a really good running back. I think they need a maybe a compliment that's better than Latavius Murray. Maybe him and Murray are the two. It's time.
And honestly, I'd say,
Give 'em time.
and we've talked about this before earlier in the season off air, they need offensive line help.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts there. You can't. It's hard for any running back to be really good or great without an offensive line. Like, you couldn't put, like, an Ezekiel Elliott, you could put him behind a bad offensive line and he's going to have big numbers, good numbers, but you got to have a good offensive line for him to have big numbers, what I mean
absolutely.
by that?
Yeah, there's only so many guys that can make a bad offensive line look good.
Yeah, he's one of them, but he's not going to come out looking amazing. There's going to be games where he's going to struggle and stuff.
No, I agree with you.
And I'm not saying the Cowboys' offensive line's bad. It's not. It's banged up and it's not as good as it was. But I mean,
they're
if you put him
making
behind a
do
bad one
with what they have.
Yeah. But as far Lance said, bring in Nathan Peterman. I don't think the Vikings. Look, I'll throw water on this fire. The Vikings aren't going anywhere but with Kirk Cousins. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to get benched. He's going to play. If they struggle, they're going to blame it on the running game right now. That's what they're going to blame it on. The offensive line not allowing him to run the ball.
I agree with you, Lance. Cook has just been banged up and can't really stay healthy.
Yeah. Cook's going to be their guy, number one. He'll get it going. He'll be okay.
But no, this was a fun game to watch. It was a good defensive battle.
I like those, man.
All right, we might as well move on to the exact opposite of Sunday night, where we had the track meet with the Rams beating the Chiefs 54-51.
Look, I said this on Twitter. I told you this earlier. We talked about this. This was the best regular season NFL game I've ever watched. And I'm not over-exaggerating. I'm not trying to be like, oh, let's build this game up. This was honestly the best regular season NFL game I've ever seen. And that I can remember. I told you last night, too, and I even put it on Twitter. I said, this did not remind me of an NFL game. This reminded me of, like, one of those national title bowl games in the college.
Or what is it? Is it the Big 12? I want to say it's the Big 12. Like, where Oklahoma will play, like, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, like a big, like, monster, wide open. It reminded me, it reminded me a lot of, like, Florida State, like, versus Clemson or something in a bowl game where they just go nuts scoring. Like, defense is almost banned. Like, you can't.
The
You're not allowed
first
to play
60
defense.
wins.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, this game was so freaking good. So much, like, if you had these guys in fantasy, like, if you had Patrick Mahomes, if you had Jared Goff in fantasy, if you had, like, Tyreek Hill in fantasy, not so much Gurley, because obviously it became a track meet where you can't, like, they couldn't really run the ball a ton. But man, you're talking about, like, and just a hell of a football game.
I had someone tell me that you talk about fantasy, that this game basically broke Yahoo's fantasy.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because I had a message from somebody this morning when I got up there, like, I guess they were winning a game, and there was, like, a big point swing, like, it was all screwed up. He's like, what the hell happened? I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, 105-point football game happened.
That's true. Lance said the only bad thing was all the penalties.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be an amazingly officiated game. Like, we even, like, I go nuts when there's, like, a bad penalty call that can swing a game. And the one that got me was that leading with a helmet call.
Yeah, that was a terrible call.
The defensive guy turned away from the hit, put his shoulder to the side, and the offensive guy is the one that initiated the contact with the helmet. Yeah, and the defender got called. It was brutal.
There was that one, and then I know, like you said, Donald was getting held a lot. That wasn't getting called.
I think it was on one of the Chiefs' touchdowns. Donald broke up it was on the big catch by Tyreek Hill on the sideline late in the game. Donald broke up the middle, and he got put in a headlock by the offensive lineman, and the official just stood there and watched it, man. I was like, that's not good.
And, talking about him, that dude is just on another planet when it comes to defensive linemen.
Hey, Lance just mentioned something that I agree with. He said there should be a ref challenge for huge calls that will change games. I agree with that. But one thing I agree with is I think that they need to review the helmet rule. That when they say a guy leads with his helmet, much like in college, if there's a targeting, they go and they review it to see if the player will be ejected. I think the NFL needs to review that too.
Yeah, I would like that.
Hey, Rob just said in the chat, he said both are good teams, but will go nowhere without defense. Do you remember me saying last night?
Yeah.
The Rams defense.
He said the exact same thing.
It's very troubling because if someone who has a decent offense throws defense at the Rams right now, or the Chiefs, they're going to beat them. So if you catch a team in the playoffs, say the Chiefs can score 40, 50 points a game, a team like the Steelers or Patriots, though, could possibly throw a little defense at them, get a little rough with them, slow them down, and they can beat them because they also can score.
Yep.
That's what's going to be the downfall right now, I think, of both those teams. Great point by Rob, because it's something that me and you have talked about, and it's something that I've been very firm in saying, that if you throw some defense at the Rams, you're going to beat them. Which might sound a little, harsh, but hey, the Saints threw a little bit at them and they beat them.
Right.
A little bit is the key.
The key word. The one point I wanted to make about this game, because you had mentioned about Goff earlier, the one throw I thought he made that was ridiculous. I think it might have been the game-winning throw. It was the one down the sideline that the guy, I swear to God, I can't remember who the player was, but I swore that he stepped out of bounds.
Gerald Everett.
Yes, and he tippy-toed in.
Yep.
I was just like, that's an insane throw.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking during the replay, and remember I told you, I said, if his heel comes down, he's out of bounds. But he pivoted off the ball of his foot.
Yeah,
it was
an amazing throw and an amazing play, like you're just saying, where he switched to not touch down with his heel.
Yep, it was a basketball move. The guys played basketball at some point.
And then there was one other one that really impressed me, even though I thought Mahomes didn't play well as a whole. Was it was late in the game where Tyreek Hill caught a really bad thrown ball by him and almost kind of like twisted his whole body to catch it.
Yeah.
The one I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree with you. Mahomes played great. He just had a couple. He threw for 6 touchdowns.
I read that he had 5 turnovers.
I know. Yeah, he threw 3 interceptions. I'm not sure about. Yeah, he did. He had 5 turnovers. Ooh, so maybe he didn't. I don't know. Can you really say though that?
You score 50 some points and you have a bad game.
Yeah. You pointed something out though, and we were in agreement with it. The Chiefs had this football game won if they intercept that ball late. If that corner doesn't drop that interception,
hit him right in the hands.
Right in the hands. He drops it going to the ground. That cost them the game.
Yeah. Lance said the one thing that drove him crazy was the uniforms that the Rams were wearing.
Yeah. Lance said, "World, one of the worst, greatest quarterback performances." Hey, sometimes you look bad and good.
I'll go out, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The worst uniforms ever were the Steelers prison unis, I call them. They look like the giant bumblebee.
Yeah, the bumblebees.
Dean loves them, but they're hideous.
Yeah, I'll throw Seattle's neon green ones up there against them, too.
Oh, God, they were terrible.
Yeah, but, man, this football game,
It was such a fun game.
It really was a fun game. It was so, like I was excited. Like I had no rooting interest. I mean, I kind of root for Andy Reid. I still like Andy. But
yeah, either way, it was just like just a fun game to watch.
And you have two young quarterbacks, man. There's two young teams because Hunt,
duking it out.
Tyreek Hill, they're young, and Gurley is still young, and you just have receivers like Josh Reynolds, like you said, the Reynolds kid stepped up. Robert Woods, Higbee. It was just a full it kind of sucks that like you don't get like the Rams are missing Cooper Kupp. You would love to see him too, even though they obviously scored 54 points. They really didn't need him.
Yeah, they were fine.
But this was just a fun football game, man. And what I wonder is, with the way they call football games now, with the excessive amount of penalties, and with the way offenses have just evolved and just being like juggernauts, like high powered, is this the way the league is going? Like, are we going to see a league where
they're more like track meet games?
Yeah, is this what we're going to see? Because you can't really touch receivers anymore. You can't really, hit quarterbacks much anymore. Fields are being cut in half with penalties. I'm kind of okay with it, Like, I love this kind of football, but a big part of me still misses, like, those 17-14 just bloody beat up, player games.
I was going to say like a Steelers-Ravens game.
Yeah, perfect example. Look, we're both in our mid-30s now. We're not 23, 24 years old. We remember the NFL of the 90s where quarterbacks got killed, where the Eagles would helmet to helmet Aikman and on a weekly basis, where players tried to hurt each other.
Oh yeah.
I miss that in a way. Like, I don't want to see guys get hurt, but I miss that just beat 'em up kind of league. Yeah, that aggressiveness, that nasty football. And it's kind of it's non-existent at this point,
I agree. All right.
Now we move on to the bad part of the week.
Yeah, I won't even get to how many we both got wrong. We had a
Go ahead. I kind of do want to know.
Well, I gotta add them up, so it might take a second.
Okay, he'll be here for at least 9 to 10 seconds.
Oh man.
Yeah, Len said the old 1970s clothesline tackles. Yeah, like, go back and you watch those games, man, and you get like, what was the Raiders guy's name? Night Train Lane or whatever, or was that the Rams guy? Whatever his name was. But you just watch those guys, man.
You had 7 losses and I had 6.
Oh, so it wasn't as high as I thought, but yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Hey, I got the upset.
We had a few good weeks. We were due for a clunker.
Yeah, it was a weird week. A lot of upsets, a lot of games that didn't go the way you would expect them to go. But
right.
What are you going to do?
Now we have some Turkey Day football.
Oh yeah, the like a free Sunday in the middle of the week, kind of.
Yeah. All right. To start it off, we have the Bears traveling to Detroit.
Ah, man, this is a rough one because what is Trubisky's
status?
Status, yeah. Like, is he definitely
I've read
a go?
That he's not going to play.
If he doesn't play, this becomes a wide open game, in my opinion. Especially being because the Bears did beat the Panthers, so they might have a little momentum,
Yeah.
As of 7 hours ago, the Bears were cautiously optimistic that Mitchell Trubisky will start Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to go with the Bears. I'll take the Bears in this one either way. If I lose it, I lose it after last week.
I'm going to play with the Lions just because even if he does start, to say that he's right, especially on a short week.
Yeah. Who's their backup?
I think it's Chase Daniel.
Oh, I thought Daniel was the Vikings backup.
Let me see. Give me a second. And I'll tell you, because I'll look at their depth chart.
I have it right here. Their backup quarterback is Chase Daniel. Where the hell did Chase Daniel come from talking about? I don't know.
Yeah, he's the only other quarterback they have.
Who, man? We know about him.
Yeah, that I'm gonna stick with the Lions.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bears just for the hell of it.
All right. We have the Redskins traveling to Dallas.
Phew, got to go to the Cowboys, man. I mean, they've looked better. I can't see the Redskins with Colt McCoy really doing much offensive against them. So
even though the last time Colt McCoy played him, he beat him, but that's been a long time ago.
yeah, I'm taking Dallas. I like the way Dallas's defense has been looking. I think you're going to get a heavy dose of Ezekiel Elliott. He might end up in the pot again, the Salvation Army pot.
All right, this is going to be the really fun game. The third, because there's 3 games now on Thanksgiving.
Yes, the Thursday night one now. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's Atlanta traveling to the Saints.
Oh, the Saints by 20. Honestly, Saints by 20. Maybe 3 full touchdown win here. I don't think Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta is in this game
because the last time they played, the Saints beat them in overtime in a similar game like last night, a 45-42 game.
Yeah, it was like week 2 or week 3, right?
I want to say week 3.
Yeah, so I don't.
I just want to see a fun, like, high-scoring game, but either way, the Saints are winning.
Yeah, I got the Saints big time here. I think the Saints score 42 points. I like 42-21, man. I'm going with something in that area.
All right. Starting on Sunday now, we have the Raiders traveling to Baltimore.
Baltimore. I don't think we really
we don't need to really talk about that one.
Yeah, I got Baltimore in that one.
All
Easy.
right, next we have the Jaguars traveling to Buffalo.
This game is rough.
Yeah, that's being kind.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars just because I think their season is really on the line right here, obviously.
You said you're going with Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, yeah. My headset break up. I'm sorry. Jaguars, yeah.
I agree. I can't believe that the Bills can redo the same performance they had 2 weeks ago.
I agree. 100%.
All right, next we have Seattle traveling to Carolina.
This is a good game. I like this game, man. Like, I honestly, both of these teams could use a win. Carolina, obviously, to stay right there in the wild card picture because 6-5 it does not look that great compared to 7-4 right now. I think I'm gonna go with Seattle. Like, I like Seattle's running game. Keep the ball out of Newton's hands. I think their defense is good enough to hold Carolina back. So I'm gonna go with Seattle.
I am too. I like what they're doing right now.
The West to East scares me though. The time difference.
Coming out and playing a 1:00 game.
Yeah, I think Seattle's gonna really start rolling a little bit, man, and they might be the team that ends up jumping into one of them wild card spots.
Excuse me. All right, next we have the Browns traveling to the Bengals.
Oof. Man. You know, I'm really tempted to take the Browns in this game. I am really tempted to take the Browns.
Especially with Green still out.
Yeah, man, I'm really tempted. I'll go Bengals though, just because it's in Cincinnati.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and take the Browns.
No, so you're gonna go with my original instinct, which is probably gonna bite me.
All right, next we have the Patriots traveling to the Jets.
Patriots, easy.
Probably by 2 or more scores if Darnold doesn't play.
Yeah, I like the Patriots easy in this one.
All right, next we have the G-Men traveling to Philly.
Jesus, why do I have to pick this game? Man, I want to be positive. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I think they're gonna look better because they're not playing the Saints.
I was gonna say, and I think the Giants they've had their number lately.
Yeah, I kind of like the Giants offense kind of scares me right now though, because the Eagles defense is terrible. Can the Eagles stop anything.
Or keep them, or can the offense keep them off the field?
They get Jernigan back. The Eagles will have Jernigan back this week. He was activated today, so that means they're getting
thing for them.
Yeah, they're getting their defensive tackle back to go with Fletcher Cox, so that opens up Cox to be more of a pass rusher. It's running game, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think the Eagles win this game 24-16-ish, maybe 24-19, 21. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think they win, too. I think they'll figure it out. I don't know how, but they will.
Yeah.
All right, next we have the Niners traveling to Tampa.
Man, this is another one, man. Tampa, what? I don't even. I'm just gonna say the Bucs and move on.
I'll take a chance
I don't know.
with the 49ers because I like the way that Mullins kid has played.
Yeah, but is he starting? Because I saw something about the possibility of him not playing this week.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything, but I'll go with them because if Winston's playing, he's going to turn the ball over at least 3 times.
Yeah.
He seems to be a turnover machine. Yeah,
he definitely is. You nailed that one. I like Tampa.
Okay.
I think they just got a little bit more talent right now. To me, it's like either or. But I'm just gonna say Tampa because they're at home. Why not?
Yeah. All right.
No real big insight about why. What?
Yeah, Lance said every Tampa Bay quarterback is a turnover machine.
At this point, yeah, it's like they're like bakers over there. They're making turnovers all day.
Rob said in our chat, I wonder if Ryan Griffin will be active for this game.
I don't even know who's starting quarterback right now for
the Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to wait. I'm not sure. All right. Next, we have Arizona traveling to the Chargers.
No. Griffin's a quarterback for Tampa Bay, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Winston's gonna start.
Winston,
from what I read.
yeah, Winston's starting, but
At this
he's
point,
asking,
what the hell does it matter?
Yeah, what he's asking is
I
maybe
understand
if
what you're
Griffin
saying now.
is going to be active. Maybe he can get on the field if Winston struggles.
At this point, what do they have to lose?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to figure out who, if he could play. Because obviously Winston and Fitzpatrick aren't doing it.
Yeah, well, the big thing with Griffin is they need to find out really quick with him.
That's what I mean, if he can be a player or not.
Yeah, he's 29 years old, so
time's running out.
Yeah, the hourglass is very bottom full, if you know what I mean.
All right, Chargers, Cardinals. I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, we can move on from that. I'm taking the Chargers.
All right. Next, we have the Dolphins traveling to Indy.
This is going to be a tough one, man. Ryan Tannehill's back this week for the Dolphins. So you're going to get a different Dolphins team than, Brock Osweiler Dolphins.
Yeah.
Turnover machine Osweiler. If you talk about turnovers, Osweiler should be Tampa Bay's quarterback. He fit with them. Man, I want to I like the Colts, man. I'm feeling that pass protection. They're not getting any kind of pressure on Luck.
And I think they've won 3 straight.
Yeah, 3 straight sounds right. I like the Colts.
I do too. And like Rob just said, they're playing with confidence.
Man, how awesome would it be if Frank Reich goes out there and makes them into a Super Bowl contender next year?
That'd be kind of cool.
I like Frank Reich, man. I was a big fan of him when we hired him. He obviously was.
The Patriots screwed us again on that one.
Yep. Well, McDaniel's that douche.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Steelers going out to Mile High.
Yeah, Steelers win this game. I don't. Denver can't really.
Hang with
Denver's
them
not.
offensively.
Nah, Denver's not going to score enough to beat them. And I think the Steelers, I think they had their big scare against Jacksonville. And I really think that, they're gonna like turn it back on this week, if you know what I mean.
I agree. Steelers. You'll be happy with this. Another primetime Aaron Rodgers game. Sunday night, Packers travel to Minnesota.
Packers going to Minnesota, huh? Whew. Those two teams, talk about they are desperate for a win. Both of them.
They're right because they're right, like literally a game next to each other.
Yeah, so if Minnesota wins, it could severely bury the Packers.
Yeah, they basically pull away because the last time they tied.
Yeah, man, this is a rough one. I don't know. Like, Green Bay needs to win more, obviously, because then that would even everything up. The Bears possibly could lose this week, and the Vikings could step up and be closer to them. I don't know. This is a rough game, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Minnesota because it's in the Dome. It's a Minnesota game. I think they really 6-4-1 would look really good for them. They have to know it. So yeah, I'll go Minnesota.
I feel that way too for the reasons you just said, that Rodgers seems to have difficulty playing, one, in the Dome there, and two, against their defense.
Yeah, it feels like the Vikings should win this game, and I'll stick with my instinct on this one.
I agree. All right, and Monday night we have the Titans traveling to Houston.
The Titans traveling to Houston. Houston.
Yeah, they're just on a roll right now.
Yeah, was it 7 in a row they've won?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with them. They win ugly too, man. Like, they don't even have to win pretty. They just win games. Like, they've been handed games. Nathan Peterman.
The Buffalo game, I remember.
Yeah, Peterman. I'll go with Houston in this one. I think
Rob thinks in the chat that if McCarthy and the Packers lose, that he'll be fired.
That's actually a really good thought. I
personally think whatever happens at the end of the season, he's gone.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to bring in another guy because, as you know, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is the owner, the head coach, and the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think McCarthy might get canned because Rodgers and ownership might want to bring in, and I use the term loosely, like the hot new young coordinator that might be out there, whoever it turns out to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that guy might be working for the team they're playing on this week. Yeah, John DeFilippo might be that guy.
Or as I've heard him called before, the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah, the quarterback whisperer, John DeFilippo, who will be a head coach in the NFL next year, by the way. Another team that I think John DeFilippo would fit very well in is the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
But, or maybe he ends up the head coach of the team he's with. Who knows what's going on in Minnesota. DeFilippo is the kind of guy that you want to keep. Would have loved that the Eagles kept him. But,
yeah, look at the difference of Carson Wentz between last year and this year.
Yeah, I really like DeFilippo. I think he is a head coach in the NFL next year, whether it's Minnesota, Green Bay, Denver,
or wherever.
Cleveland is a very good spot for DeFilippo.
Hey, Rob wants him to go to Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa is another team. Yeah, look, Lance just said Cleveland. Right as I say Cleveland, Lance says Cleveland.
Yeah.
DeFilippo would be amazing with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland.
He would make that team so good, I believe.
Yep. DeFilippo he's going to be that big head coach next year. I'm guaranteeing it. DeFilippo will be a head coach in the NFL next year.
He was almost one this past year.
Yeah. I mean, Who are you picking in this game, by the way?
Oh, Houston, I'm sorry, right? The Texans. I thought I said.
No. I just didn't want to. Can we talk about something real quick?
Sure.
Like head coaching, real quick. Can we finish off with that?
Totally.
I think if Harbaugh is out of Minnesota, if Harbaugh is out of Baltimore, you have a big name right there who I like. Another former Eagles coordinator.
I could see him end up in Cleveland.
Cleveland, Denver, possibly Tampa Bay. A lot of places, man, where you're going to start seeing job openings, because these are like hot names. I think guys are going to, if Harbaugh is fired, I believe some teams that are on the fence might fire their head coach if they have a shot at Harbaugh.
I'll tell you, I know for a fact Todd Bowles will be gone.
Yes, and that's a spot for a Harbaugh and a DeFilippo. Dallas is another spot possibly for a DeFilippo with Dak Prescott, because he can work wonders with Dak Prescott.
Maybe they'll finally pull the plug on Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati, they need a quarterback there for sure, because Dalton obviously is at the back end of his career. Well, he's not even at the back end. He's at the very end of his career, because, the Giants obviously aren't going to go anywhere with their coach, but they need a young quarterback. So, I mean, it's rough, man.
No, I agree. I'm trying to think who else could get canned.
Doug Peterson? No, I'm kidding. I'm 100% joking with that one. Dougie ain't going nowhere. He's got to get his rebound year. We got to get a new offensive coordinator though. Grove's got to go, and I'm not sure Deuce is the guy either. We'll see.
And it all depends, what's out there after the season ends.
Yeah, like what do you want at coordinator and everything, and it's going to be interesting, man. I think this NFL season is going to really be what happens after the season is going to be really interesting, because you have a lot of stuff coming up, and I don't want to go too deep in it because that's obviously best saved for the end of the year. But you got Le'Veon Bell. What's going to happen with him? You have some big name guys that are going to possibly be moving to new teams.
I agree. Rob is saying he thinks Wilkes, the guy in Arizona, could be one and done.
The head coach out there?
Yeah.
That's possible. They have that young quarterback too. I don't know. I think they might have hired him. I don't know
because they've just been so bad, but I don't know if that's on the coach and it's just where the team's just bad. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. You can't turn a turd into gold. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
In the NFL, you have to have talent to win. You cannot. And I mean, I like their quarterback. They obviously have a franchise running back in David Johnson, who took, non-franchise money to stay. Like, he's not making. He left a lot of money on the table, so that opens up the door for them to bring in bigger name players.
Here's
they need receivers.
Thing that Lance just said, and we'll get out of here after this. He said in Kansas City, he heard that Reed could be retiring or moving up in the front office.
Yeah, that's possible. I would think that Andy, might be ready for, because we know from being Eagles fans that Andy always had that executive, touch too. Like he wanted player control. He was a player personnel kind of guy. He wanted, he's like a talent guy, and maybe it's time. Maybe, I mean, I kind of hope Andy wins the Super Bowl this year with the Chiefs. I'm an Andy fan. I like him. He kind of, he needed to go a little earlier than he did in Philadelphia. Like, he probably would have been better suited.
At least 3 or 4 years before.
Yeah, a lot of that was due to off the field issues. Not him, his sons and stuff. He had his one son pass away from a drug overdose at the Eagles training camp facility, and I think he had times where getting away from Philadelphia, would have been better for him as a whole.
I agree.
So I still like Andy. Like, I don't take Andy's last few years for anything. To me, 2000 until 2007 or 8 are the years that I see Andy Reid. Andy Reid was a phenomenal head coach. He couldn't do something that a lot of people couldn't do, is beat the Patriots in that era. But I'm rooting for Andy. I would like to see Andy win a Super Bowl and then possibly retire after the year and move into their front office, like Lance just said is rumored and talked about.
Yeah.
But he's cut out for it. I like Andy as a personnel guy. I mean, he turned the Eagles around with some great talent acquisitions.
Totally.
But
I agree with you.
We'll see.
All right, but on that note, we're going to get out of here for tonight. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and we'll see you back next week.
Well, one more thing before you go. Can I say something?
Sure.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
That's right. I almost forgot. Everyone that's in the States, because Canada's already celebrated it, have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Good.
We'll see you
Later.
next week. Take care now.